Okay, so today we're going to be talking about biology and learning. Okay, so first I want to go over some important terms. First, we have the neuron system, which consists of neurons and supporting cells. Then we have neurons, which are excitable cells that transmit electrical signals, aka they send information very quickly. Then we have the synapse between two neurons, and this is the space between the two neurons, or a neuron sends a chemical signal to another cell. Then we have neural development. This is the development of the brain before birth. Then we have gene expression, which is how your DNA is used. Signal transduction, which is when expression occurs. And lastly, we have neuronal plasticity, which is the modifications of the neuron system due to stimuli. Next, I want to talk about types of memory. First, we have sensory memory. This is temporary storage from the five senses, so anything that deals with stimuli in the five senses. This is very high in capacity and deals with declarative knowledge. In terms of how long it lasts, this only lasts for a few seconds. Next, we have short-term memory. This is brief storage of current info being used, and the capacity of short-term memory is 7 plus or minus 2, so anywhere between 5 and 9. And an example of short-term memory or when it's used is in lecture. In terms of how long it lasts, it's around less than 20 seconds. Then we have long-term memory, which is the permanent storage of info not being used in the moment, has unlimited capacity, and LTM is used and strengthened from the repetition of info and practice. And this is permanent as long as the LTP or long-term potentiation is present, which we'll be talking about in the next slide. I want to get into long-term memory and long-term potentiation. So first I want to start off with how we can get things into the long-term memory. So we could repeat information, use chunking, mnemonic devices, self-referencing, which is making the information relatable to you so you can learn it and understand it better. Then we could teach others similarly to how I'm teaching you. And then we could use spacing while studying. Next, I want to get into the definition of long-term potentiation. The definition of long-term potentiation is the strengthening of the synapse based on activity. And this is a physical change in the brain involving proteins and neurons. And it's long-lasting increase in signaling between two neurons. Okay, so next I want to get into the process of learning. So first we start off with the stimulus, which is sight, hearing, smell, taste, or touch. And this goes into the sensory memory. And with sensory memory, it's forgotten if not practiced. And then it's encoded into the short-term memory. Again, it's forgotten if not practiced. And then after it's in the short-term memory, it gets encoded into a long-term memory. The way long-term memory works is after it's encoded, the information could be retrieved into the short-term memory and used in the present. Now I want to get into biological organization. Now this has nothing to do with memory or anything, but it's really important to know. So first you have the organism. And inside the organism you can find tissue, and then there's a cell, and then there's the organelles in the cell, and then you have molecules, which are made up of two or more atoms, and then you have the atom.